I can still hear her voice, that syrupy tone laced with the kind of arrogance only old money breeds. "Here's a hoodie and a $50 gift card," she said, sliding the thin fabric across the conference table like she was feeding a stray. Then came that smirk, the smug little smile that could make even kindness sound like mockery. "Your employment is terminated, effective immediately." Her father, the CEO, sat right beside her, silent, expressionless. No eye contact, no explanation, just the hum of the air conditioner and the quiet sound of everything I'd built falling apart. My six-figure bonus? Gone. My company shares? Frozen. And all I walked away with was a hoodie. Back then, I believed in them. I believed in us. When I joined, the company was nothing more than an idea on a PowerPoint in a cluttered garage that smelled like burnt coffee and adrenaline. I was there from the ground up. Wrote the first lines of code, stayed through endless weekends, watched months blur into years. I thought we were building something together. Her father was a visionary. She was a polished face. And I was the engine keeping it alive. She used to bring me coffee during late-night work sprints, telling me how much she admired my focus, how she loved the way I solved problems under pressure. I mistook that for respect. The truth? She was studying me, learning my patterns, my methods, until she could replicate what she needed and toss me aside the moment I stopped being useful. The warning signs came long before the firing. Investor decks started looking different. My slides were rewritten. My name quietly disappeared from product credits. Meeting invites stopped coming. When I asked, she smiled and said, "We're just streamlining communication." I knew what that meant. I was being erased. The night before the Series B filing, I found something in the share drive. A new folder labeled Founding Narrative, Final. I wasn't supposed to see it, but I did. They'd rewritten the company's history. According to that file, the CEO's daughter had designed, built, and led the creation of the entire platform. Me? I was listed under technical support. That's when something in me switched off. I didn't get angry. I didn't argue. I didn't even warn them. I just went quiet and started collecting every email, every document revision, every contract draft, including the one her father had signed without updating the founder equity clause, the one that still listed me as co-owner of the intellectual property, a silent 22% stake they'd conveniently forgotten existed. Their arrogance became my weapon. 2 weeks later, they called me into the conference room. "Restructuring," she said, that same fake sweetness curling around the word. When she tossed that hoodie across the table, she thought that was the end of my story. She didn't realize it was only a comma. I left quietly. No social media post. No scene. Just silence. But behind that silence, I got to work. I registered a holding company in Delaware under a new name. Legally, cleanly, I transferred the intellectual property rights from that clause into it. And then I waited. Series B funding was around the corner. I knew how investors operated. They demand proof of full IP ownership during due diligence. And when they did, they'd find the missing key, the founder's digital signature that authenticated the platform's infrastructure. The only person who had it was me. On the day of the Series B presentation, I walked into the building, not as a guest, not as an employee, but as a ghost. They'd scrubbed my name from the system calendar, but my access badge still worked. Another one of their oversights. From behind the glass wall, I watched them pitch. The CEO in his designer suit, his daughter wearing that same practice confidence, selling my system to men who valued ideas in millions. Halfway through presentation, the lead investor stopped. An older man, seasoned, sharp, the kind who could smell dishonesty before the room could blink. He held up a folder, the termination file they provided during disclosure. My name was on it. "Who's this?" he asked. The room froze. The CEO hesitated. Former contractor. No longer affiliated with us. The investor leaned back, his tone calm but cutting. Strange, because Delaware filings show he still holds ownership of the core IP through a holding company. Color drained from their faces. He slid the file back across the table and said, almost casually, "Congratulations, you've just lost your company." The silence that followed could have drowned an entire room. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I didn't have to. Within a week, investors pulled their funding. Acquisition talks were canceled. Her photo vanished from the company website. 2 days later, an email from her appeared in my inbox. We need to talk. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to the legal team handling the IP buyback. My asking price for $0.2 million. Non-negotiable. They paid. It's strange how justice feels. It's never loud. It doesn't come with clapping or celebration. It's quiet, deliberate, like closing a door and hearing the lock click into place. That same hoodie still hangs in my closet, untouched, folded sharp, a reminder of what happens when arrogance meets silence. Sometimes I catch myself looking at it, almost hearing her voice again, that same condescending sweetness. But now when it echoes, I just smile, because I know how the story ends. She handed me a hoodie. I handed her an invoice. And in the end, I walked away with the company's soul, while she was left clutching its empty shell. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, check your paperwork.